We are watching testimony unfold in the trial against Christopher Wolfenbarger in Georgia. Wolfenbarger faces up to life in prison if he is convicted of murdering his wife, Melissa, over 20 years ago.
Melissa was the daughter of a convicted serial killer, Carl Patton, who pled guilty to a string of murders in a notorious high-profile case in Georgia. Now, he has already been ruled out as a suspect. On the stand now is the officer who responded to the scene where Melissa's head was found. He's now on cross by the defense.
Kelly, my name is... It won't happen a second time.
That's okay.
Yes, it will. It won't happen a third time. Detective Kelly, I don't believe we've met before, even though we've been around a long time together. So a couple questions. First of all, you said something about a dog on the scene. Do you have any reason to believe that that dog had ever moved the skull at all?
I believe so. I believe the dog drug it out of the woods. And
Oh, you're just speculating about that?
there was a video, the VHS recording.
Can you stick with the microphone?
There was a VHS recording at one time that showed the dog dragging the bag out of the woods. Now, I don't know where it's at
Dragging
now.
the bag with the skull out of the woods?
Yes.
There was no detectives out there until after the skull was already there.
VHS recording. That's a security camera. It's so old.
Where's the evidence of that?
I'm sorry.
Has anybody ever had evidence of that? Is that in any police report anywhere?
I don't know.
Are you just kind of making it up today?
No.
I've read every report you've ever written, every report every other detective has
you
written.
haven't written all written. There are reports missing. I don't know why, but there are some reports missing.
Have you told the DAs there are reports missing?
Yeah. But I mean,
Which DA did you tell that there are reports missing?
gentleman here just questioned me
Uh-huh.
that I had more reports in this file and they're not.
And where's
found?
the VHS?
I don't know.
Did you tell them there was a VHS recording that's missing? You told
Yes.
Mr. Wilson that? When did you tell him that?
The other day when he called me.
You told him the other day?
Sir?
You told him the other day?
Yes.
Is there a
Called
reason
me
you...
last week. Yeah.
And what else did the recording show?
Just that.
Did it show how the skull got there at all?
Just what I described.
A dog pulling it out of the woods. Where from what part of the woods? Well, it's not in your report. You know that.
I'm telling you, I have reports missing out of this file. This is not my whole file.
Take your time.
It's from the wooded area where we returned with the cadaver dogs. It was coming from that area where the other bodily parts were found in the woods.
What did the dog look like?
Like it was a stray dog. The hair was all matted and nasty looking.
Was there any dog hair found on the skull?
I don't know.
Was there any testing done of the skull to show that a dog had moved it?
I don't know how you do that because it was remember the black plastic bag? It was ripped open. The dog was toting the bag and it fell out.
And you saw a video of that?
Yes.
What did you do with the video?
It was put in evidence.
You know, I think we need to take a break and talk to the district attorney's office for a moment here.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to step out for just a few minutes. It's 2:21. I'll try and get you back in here as quick as we can. Thank you all.
All right. Whoa, Michael, this is a fiery trial to start. That's something, that's a problem.
It's a
and
problem.
to hear that the district attorney allegedly knew there were missing reports. What are they going to do about it? Let's bring in our former prosecutor, constitutional attorney, Chris Ann Hall. Thank you, Chris Ann, as always, for being with us. So what do you think about, and Michael and I were just saying, why is nobody objecting or saying, let's just have a sidebar, Judge? Because this is a big issue to learn there's discovery perhaps missing that wasn't given to the defense.
Yeah, this is not just a big issue. This is a mistrial issue.
Yes.
So I was sitting here going, whoa. I can't say that that's never happened to me in the courtroom, maybe not to that extent, but prosecutors can have that experience, unfortunately, every once in a while, where investigators or police officers reveal evidence on the stand that was not shared during their investigation or their conference with the prosecutor. Like I said, that's actually happened to me before. So we're going to have to wait and see how the prosecution recovers from this. This is very early in the stage of this trial. So to determine that evidence had not been turned over or that the prosecution knew that there was evidence.
Oh, it sounds like we may have lost Chris Ann Hall.
Yeah,
so what were you going to say?
No, well, I was going to say to her, you know, the fact that it happened, it sounded like he said he told them, what, the day before?
Right, or the week before.
Or the
I
week
think he said
before.
last week I told Mr. Wilson, the DA.
And I want folks to understand that it's absolutely the obligation of prosecutors
to then
inform the defense that this is what I've been told. And again, no one has even verified if it actually exists.
Right.
He just, you know, the prosecutors,
he's just testifying about it.
He's just saying it. He told them a week ago, but I don't even know if the prosecutors have verified the fact that that tape, in fact, does exist.
Right, but if they had verified that everything was there and nothing was missing, then I would have said, if I were the prosecutor, we need a sidebar, Judge, and fill them in. So it's really weird. Do you agree, just quickly, Michael, do you agree with Chris Ann this could be a mistrial issue?
Absolutely, mistrial. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm saying I'm screaming mistrial from the top of my lungs.
Absolutely agree with you. All right, they're back. Let's go back into the courtroom.
Mr. Samuel, that witness has now left the room.
Well, I have a couple questions. I'd like to know, first of all, whether Mr. Wilson will either corroborate or dispute that he's been given information about video camera evidence that's lost, his reports that are lost, evidence that they knew that the dog had dragged the skull out of the woods into the road. There's no police report about it, and now it turns out his actual statements are missing, all of which apparently he told the DA's office, none of which even comes close to ever having been revealed to us, ever.
Mr. Wilson?
If I could respond to this, Judge, because I was talking directly with this witness on this issue. If the court will allow that.
Sure.
All right. I do have information about the comment about the dog from this witness. We were not able to locate the video. I didn't know there was a video of that description until I had that discussion with this witness. The detectives, Shepard, suspected that there was a dog or dogs in the area that may have carried the head out from the wooded area to the street where it was located. That's been his theory since the beginning of the case.
Right, but inferring that from the presence of a dog that Mr. McEachern testified to is different than we recovered some sort of surveillance video that showed it, but then we lost it.
Sure, and that was never intended to be introduced into evidence by the state. That's why it wasn't elicited during direct. We had a video cassette. We had several small mini cassettes. At the beginning, before the case was indicted, those were submitted to accompanying the cab, and they were transferred over to a thumb drive, which was submitted in discovery. And they're labeled as such, converted VHS. It's in discovery. But that's the only VHS cassette that I've received from the APD Annex. The multiple times we've gone to, I don't have a VHS cassette.
Okay, hang on. The physical nature of the physical medium in which the state might have it or not have it, I think is less important at this point than does the state have some sort of video that would line up with what this witness is saying he observed? Like some digital video recording of that image?
I don't.
Okay. And so the videos that you're saying you were aware of that were reduced by a private company to a flash drive or something and were produced in discovery, what are those?
Those are all statements. When it's witness interviews,
Okay.
which have been turned over.
Okay.
That's the only VHS cassette that I've seen in this case. A lot of mini cassettes that have also been converted. I only had one VHS cassette.
Okay. I appreciate that. Again, I think it would be easy to identify it if it was a VHS, in your possession. But I think more importantly is, does anybody know that such a video ever existed, whether on VHS or anything else?
I didn't have a documentation of that in the Detective Calhoun's report. I didn't have documentation of that in Detective Shepard's report. And I didn't see any reports that Detective Kelley had written that elicited that information. And of course, all the reports that I have from Detective Kelley appeared to be complete.
Okay.
I had no reason to believe they weren't. But, so like I said, I never intended that this information would come in because I didn't have a way to authenticate it. Other than that detective's testimony, I knew that wouldn't have been permissible to elicit it. He had just him testifying to it.
Okay.
I never intended for that to come out.
Mr. Samuel? I think the answer to your first question is, well, actually, to be honest, now that I'm trying to put it in words, I'm not actually sure I'm clear on what the answer is. And that was why I was trying to make the distinction between the VHS and the video.
Yeah. Let me explain to you how I see the problem. We have been working on this case, Mr. McDermott in particular, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for Lord knows how many months at this point. He's been in communication with the DA's office. There's been a lot of open file. And yet apparently they're not telling us about evidence that's lost, about videos that are lost, about their second witness on the stand who's saying he was the chief investigator in the case and some percentage of his reports are lost. Now, either the DA's office says they were oblivious to all of that and they learned that the same time I did, or they've known it all along and didn't tell anybody. Meaning you, us, the destruction of evidence, the loss of evidence that may be important, the loss of police reports from witnesses. From a chief investigator from the original crime scene, he says his reports are missing, and nobody's telling us that the witness is just going to, blurt that out on cross-examination for the first time. And this business about bleach is not in his report. There's references to bleach in the report, but according to the crime lab that we interviewed, it had nothing to do with bleach in the bags. It was bleach that was done by the crime lab to clean the bones.
And that's a matter for cross-examination?
Well, but he's saying, now he's saying, I've got bleach in the bags. There's no report anywhere that says that.
And again, that's a matter for cross-examination unless there is some report that has not been provided to you. But I'm going to ask you to put a pin in that for a moment and revisit this with Mr. Fawcett or Mr. Wilson. I'm still not sure I understand the answer to the question, which is, before Detective Kelley took the stand, did the state have an understanding that he believed there were other reports that he had made that were missing, number one, and number two, that he believed there was a video showing what he's described about a dog with a bag in its mouth pulling it into the street, which was containing some body part or other? Two questions. What are the answers to those two questions?
Yes, I was providing that information last week when I spoke with him.
Okay. And what efforts did you take to determine if such evidence did in fact ever exist and or was lost or in your possession?
Well, I went back through the file to see if there were additional reports by Detective Kelley. So the reports from Detective Kelley, I sent him portions from file that we turned.
All right, so we know what happens as a result of this. Again, the jury's gone, the witness is gone. The judge says, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to instruct the jury to disregard the dog testimony. But Michael, my question is for you, is there a responsibility by the prosecution if they don't have the VHS, but they're told, oh, it's missing, should they have told the defense that?
Yeah, it's an absolute responsibility that they would have to have told the defense that. just the fact that they didn't plan to use it doesn't matter. What if the defense wanted to use it? What if in some way it was helpful to the defense? Apparently, he says he doesn't know where it is, never saw it. I guess the judge took him at his word. And as long as it's not some willful attempt to to mislead the defense, generally a judge will not call a mistrial or disrupt the entire process for that. But make no mistake, this is a serious issue, and it will come up on appeal if there's a conviction.
Absolutely, and I did note that the prosecutor said, hey, we never thought this would come up. All right.